Okay, yes, I am still alive. I know I've basically been radio silent since my last video, which was like 2.5 weeks ago. I know this. Life has been beating the hell out of me. And I'm going to be talking about it. Basically, I have been in one of the craziest experiences that I think anybody who has purchased a home could ever be in. First things first. So I have a home. I am a first-time home buyer. That is a thing that has happened. Anyone who has been around since, I guess, late October knows that I have managed to get myself it's a pretty nice home. It had some problems though. There's no way to cover everything in this video, so it might need a part 2. But essentially, so back in September, I ended up purchasing a house. However, I couldn't move into the house until late October, just after my birthday. To preface this, there was an inspection done on the house, and the inspection did turn up some very critical things that needed to be fixed. One being that in this closet back here, yes, you're seeing what is normally off screen. In this closet back here, there's the main sewer pipe. Well, when our inspector turned on the water to the bathroom to test like the water pressure and the heat and stuff like that, well, that pipe was leaking horrendously. Basically, they never sealed the pipe, so like as soon as the water came coming through that pipe, water was spewing out of the connection. So that wasn't good, and because of that, the inspector did not finish his inspection of the bathroom because that happened. That's going to come up later. So yeah, inspection was done in the house. Many things were found. Almost every single thing was addressed by the seller of the house, and that included 3 outlets that had no power to them and 3 that were not grounded. So the seller fixed those. However, the people that he used, they didn't fix it properly. And because it didn't get fixed properly, what happened was it took out power to pretty much all the outlets in the kitchen. The outlet for the refrigerator, the outlet that the microwave gets plugged into, the garbage disposal, the overhead for the oven, all those got deactivated. So we had to get the electrician back in here to fix that error. Managed to get that all cleared up. Great, fantastic. Not the end of the problem. Note, that was found at the beginning of October. Like October 4th, about a week after the papers were signed. Not too long after that, remember how I said that there was an inspection that was done, but the bathroom was not fully inspected? This comes back around because it was determined that there was a leak in the bathroom somewhere. We didn't know exactly where. So we called a company. I'm going to shout them out because they've been fantastic. Three Mountains Plumbing. Three Mountains Plumbing, electrical, furnace. They do pretty much everything. They had someone come in and inspect the bathroom to see where the leak was coming from. And the first thing that happened was the inspector that they sent basically said, "Oh yeah, no, my wife would love all the fixtures in your bathroom. It's too bad that most of them aren't installed incorrectly." And we had questions about that. He actually took the faucet for the bathtub and spun it 360 degrees because it was not caulked and sealed, and the back plate, which had the word Delta written on it, was actually upside down, which was important because that's what was causing the leak. Because it wasn't sealed and it was upside down, there's a little drip hole that's supposed to allow excess water that comes out of the pipes to enter the bathtub. And because it was upside down, it was leaking into the wall or out of the plate in the wrong area. So that obviously was cause for concern. So Three Mountains scheduled repairs. The inspection was done I think mid-October, and it wasn't until October 29th that the plumbing was finished. And after 11 hours, the main pipe behind my little closet over here, that was finally fixed, and the process of moving in could begin. But it doesn't end there, because while all this was happening, it was also discovered that there were improperly sized breakers inside our breaker box. What I mean by that is that the water heater and the washer and dryer were hooked up to breakers that were too low in power, like power regulation, basically. I think they were like 110 watt or something breakers, and they needed to be 220 watt or greater. And so that kind of sucked, because the breakers, 6 of them, were actually melting in the breaker box because there was too much power going through them. So we had to get those replaced as well. And while a fix was done, unfortunately, the issue was greater than just fixing those breakers, because the entire breaker box was now needed to be completely replaced. The whole panel just needed a new one. So yeah, October 29th, maintenance on the plumbing is done. Move-in can happen. Just to be on the safe side, Three Mountains took another appraisal of the house to make sure that other things were okay. The breaker box was replaced, but in addition to that, basically the entire plumbing system needed to be replaced as well. The plumbing was old. We were told it was still serviceable, and the water heater that was in the house was still technically okay. It still had like 2 to 3 good years on it, but the problem was there was a 3-inch pipe about that big that was rusted over. And similar to what happened with the main pipe, the seller kind of just painted over that to hide the rust, but it was starting to, but you could still see through it. Yeah, I forgot to mention about that. Yeah, there was a small pipe that led to the drain of the bathtub that had been spray painted silver to hide rust and corrosion. Something similar had happened here, but unfortunately the rust and corrosion was so blatant that the paint showed through. This 3-inch pipe was important because it was sitting directly above the water heater. And Three Mountains' inspector basically said, if this breaks, then you're going to have both a massive plumbing and electrical problem. So you probably should consider just getting the entire pipe system replaced, because we can't just replace one single pipe. That doesn't make any sense. So that's what happened. In addition to that, a new water heater was also installed. At this point, all this was done through financing. So we're looking at approximately, I'm not going to say the exact number, but just under $40,000 in repairs. These repairs should not have needed to happen. The seller tried to explain away everything that happened, saying that he was unaware of these things, that his people didn't work on these things, and then going back and saying, oh no, actually, with certain things like the bathroom, I'm the one who installed the fixtures. Yeah, we could tell. We could tell that it was not done properly. And because of that, things started coming to light. My realtor did some digging and basically found the purchases for this house that the seller used to say whether or not he was going to buy it. And so many things began coming to light, including the fact that the seller completely remodeled this house without permits. Not a single permit. And he maintains to this day that because it was a pre-existing build, that you don't need permits. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the lawyer that became involved with this absolutely disputed that, because where I live, permits are mandatory for damn near everything, unless you're changing very, very specific things and doing it in a specific way. Yeah, there's a lot more to this story. This is already approaching an almost 10-minute story. I promise you guys, I will fill you in on the rest in the next video. But because there's a lot more tea. There's a lot more tea to be spilled here. What I just told you, was the course of a month and a half. We haven't even hit the new year yet. So stay tuned.